Honorable Speaker, before 1st December 2016, all these Gambians who are beating their chests, that yes, we wanted, that we are bringing about change so that we can have this. I must say that 99.9% of Gambians never expected that change will happen. That is the truth. You expected nothing after 2016. Because of fear, dilemma, confusion, and a nation heading into war. Some of the people who are in certain parties who are part of the ruling feel that, well, we were going in the right direction, but eventually this brought about the change. We were heading towards war. The APRC headquarters was burnt. And many more of that was coming. Who knows, we may have ended up with a Gaddafi situation. Who was stronger than Gaddafi? Who on earth was stronger than Gaddafi? So this change was not a change for this party or that party. It was a change to save the Gambia, so that we will not lose this country, because we were heading towards losing it. So nobody should look at the past and hope that we'll return to it. And nobody should claim to be the creator of the present, because some were in prison at that time and needed to be saved. It is national effort that brought us together for a project of saving the Gambia. To create a Gambia where all of us will see ourselves, all of us will own, all of us will belong to, no matter the past, no matter the present. That was the objective. One Gambia, one nation, one people. We met together, and I must now declare that humility, I didn't want to make any. I was the first to invite presidential candidates, not parties. Because if we invited parties, people were so angry, especially one party whose leader was in prison. You call them Halifa Sallah and say, come and we make you a president. They will think you, Halifa Sallah, you are mad. That's why we didn't call parties, we called presidential candidates. And discuss until we can see that at least the presidential candidates are identified, no newcomers will come. We closed that and went into negotiation as to how to select one of them to be our flag bearer. That's how it happened. Any other thing is fairy tale. And we must thank, and I told him that when I saw him, that you will leave a legacy, and that is Dembo Bojang, that you will leave a legacy if we work together to make sure that this project works. And it is that Dembo Bojang who should have been chair, who told me, let me be chair. I said, you are the fitting person to be chair. He said, well, I must select Honorable Fatoumata Tambajang to come and join me to be co-chair. He is the one who selected Ajaratu Fatoumata Tambajang to be there, because she did not belong to a political party. That is the truth. Any other thing is fairy tale. We met. We eventually agreed, because none of us could be president. None of us could sell himself or herself. None of us could sell his party or her party. That is why we said, let's develop a tactic that can build confidence within us, so that whoever is selected, everybody will go and fight so that you are there. That is what brought about the 3 years. That let us meet, let us agree. If we have 3 years, you will not stand in the next election, you will also not support any side, then we will have a level ground for multi-party contest, and Gambia will be the most democratic country in the world. That is the agenda. those who talk about 5 years, when that 5 years was being discussed, we knew that that's what the Constitution says. You don't need to negotiate that. That is the language of the Constitution. We only said 3 years as a tactic, not to deprive anybody of power, but as a tactic. And the tactic succeeded. We changed the country. Gambia became the darling of the world because the ambassadors did not believe it will change. The international community did not believe it will change. Everybody abandoned the Gambia. Even the ECOWAS did not monitor the presidential election because they felt that there will not be a level ground for multi-party contest. Nobody expected the change. That is the truth. We brought the change, everybody was surprised. Everybody embraced the change. Not we in few people, but the whole nation. That's what I mean. We brought about the change as a nation. And everybody was surprised. And Honorable Speaker, we should have continued to build a nation, not build political parties. So if any of us sit here today in the name of political party and you claim that you are in support of the coalition agenda, I will say you are not. Because when that coalition agenda was being torn apart by promoting party politics, rather than I, Honorable Speaker, was ready to resign from my party and stand as an independent coalition National Assembly member. I was ready to do that because that's what Barrow did. So that together here, we'll make sure that the coalition agenda will be fulfilled. One person cannot fight everybody. And the nation would have been stable. There will not be witch hunting of any sort. Nobody will be claiming anything. All these anomalies that are being said by our brothers and sisters from Fonj, all this would not have happened because we would have been one people, reshaping the destiny of this land. This was the intention of the 3 years. But that was torn to shreds. And now you have an executive presidency who will appoint you and remove you as former coalition partners. Where is your coalition power? Do you have power to remove him? Do you have power to determine whether he sits 3 years or 5 years? You have no power, you the coalition members. You don't have a coalition. That is the truth. That agenda has disappeared. And those who now talk about agenda, coalition agenda, 3 years. Honorable Speaker, people must remember. On the 2nd, the former president accepted. I was in my home when the IEC called me and said that State House wants to talk to me as the spokesperson of the president. I said, give them my phone. Honorable Bala Jahumpa called me and said that, well, State House wants to talk directly to the president to concede. I called the president and said, leave this phone, they are going to call you. And all of us heard what was said because it was on national media. They conceded. Honorable Speaker, 1 week, there was a renege of the position. We knew that there was already a rolling back before you people knew. Because we had transitional forces that were supposed to liaise to facilitate the transition. But we were unable to meet. And we knew what that person who was heading their side told us. That's when we knew that vacillation was coming. Eventually, there was a reneging of the position, Honorable Speaker, and I'll come to conclude that very soon. The reneging of the position, what happened? Many people came to us and said, let's get up. When there were troops in the streets, sandbags, soldiers everywhere. And Section 99 of the Constitution says that if the nation is at war, you can prolong the National Assembly and the term of the president. We said, peace. His term ends 18th January. And when it ends, if he continues, he becomes a rebel.